Oh, this is gonna be fun. Christian Ballard, sports journalist here at Ballard Sports Media. Hope everyone's having a great week so far. I'm probably not gonna get, like I've said the last couple preview videos, I probably won't end up getting every team like I wanted to, but if we could get the main teams, the big teams, at this point, drop in the comments really your suggestions for who I should cover next. Um, That'll help us out a lot. Hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button. Really love and appreciate all of you out there. Let's get into USC today. This is going to be so fun. I know I'm going to catch some heat in the comments. I think when you're previewing a team like this, uh, really more so a coach, because I think that well, here's where I stand. Right, Lincoln Riley is a great coach. He is, but he's not. He obviously has taken some hits, some heat, some downfall ever since he took the Southern Cal job. It's just not the same as it was when he was at Oklahoma. He had multiple Heisman quarterbacks. He's only had one since he took the Trojan job in Southern Cal. But he's I don't know, man. It's kind of weird because like a while back we were looking at Lincoln Riley like he was the cream of the crop, like he was the go-to, he was the next up and comer, you know. And now we look at him, and honestly, he's just average. I know there's going to be people that disagree with that. There's going to be people that say, "Preach it, brother." I know, but I think that I don't know, man. I got I still have to see more this year. I really think that this is make or break for Lincoln Riley here in year what's it been? Year 3? I think he went to Southern Cal in 2023. But either way, like this year in 2025 is make or break. We're going to get into their schedule. But before we get into that, last year was 7-6, counting a bowl win over Texas A&M. A good way to end the season, but to go 6-6 and barely squeak by to a bowl, I know it was a quote unquote tough schedule. I mean, it's kind of unacceptable. I don't usually pull it up, but let's look back at last year's schedule and what they did. It's so weird. It didn't make sense. I don't think it made all that much sense. Now, of course, they beat LSU in the opener. Brian Kelly can't win a big time opening game to save his life. Utah State, they won. They had an off week. They had to prepare for Michigan. Michigan, who was the defending champs at the time, not the best of seasons last year, but they lost at the big house early on in the year. You say, okay, they take their first loss. What's next? They bounce back against Wisconsin. Losing to Minnesota? Like, okay, I guess at the time of this Michigan game, you could say, okay, they lost to Michigan, so what? Shake it off. You beat Wisconsin. Great. Bounce back win. Losing to Minnesota? I love PJ Fleck, but come on. Penn State, you lost in overtime. Almost had that one. Maryland, no. Rutgers, of course you beat them. Washington, they're really not that good since Kalen DeBoer left for Alabama. Off week, Nebraska, UCLA, Notre Dame, Aggies. Finally, after that second bye week, they started to get their stuff together, right? They just did. Overall, I think USC is in a make or break position. And even though we could speculate and we could come to conclusions about Lincoln Riley and Southern Cal right now, I really do think they could be a mystery team this year. They're either going to do really, really good or they're going to be average. I don't think they go below 500 or nothing. I don't think they crash and burn like Florida State. But, I mean, when you think about it, Southern Cal is like, I don't know, man. Like, I know that maybe it was like hangover from leaving the Pac-12 and coming to the Big Ten, and maybe they just need to get their feet wet a little bit. That happens. I see it all the time. We see it all the time in conference realignment, right? Oklahoma didn't have all that great a year last year coming into the SEC. Texas did, but Sark's doing his thing. Brent Venables struggled with Oklahoma, but they got it together late in the season. You can't really say that much about USC. Now they had that second bye week, and in their last three games they went 2-1. But I mean that's three games. Well, they only lost to Notre Dame in those three. Yeah, that's true. That's fair. Close game with UCLA. Close game with Nebraska. They make the Las Vegas Bowl, and they win over Texas A&M. They ended the season right. They just didn't get off to the start they needed to. And usually I can look at a team and say they ended it right. They bring some stuff back and they'll be good to go to start out the next season. But I'm gonna be honest, outside of maybe the first three games, I wouldn't bet my money on USC at the moment. Let's take a look at what they have for 2025. So, wrong one. Let's go to this one. Okay, and I'll zoom in just a little bit. Y'all let me know in the comments what you think about the Trojans this year too, by the way. Missouri State, Georgia Southern, at Purdue. Good good start to the season. Purdue probably going to be a little bit better, but they're still the last couple years have just not been good for them. Michigan State at Illinois, get a bye week. Michigan at Notre Dame. It just gets tougher as the season goes on, I think. Kind of, sort of. At Nebraska off a bye week. Northwestern, Iowa. I need Iowa to hit the over. So I hope you kind of lose that game there. Something like that. That's your homecoming game. At Oregon, UCLA. Okay. The the obvious losses, if I'm getting into like not their ceiling necessarily, because if I'm being honest, like let's say if they only lost the games that were obvious, like, oh, these teams are just better, it probably would be 10-2 with losses to Notre Dame and Oregon. I think theoretically what they should be is better than UCLA, is better than Iowa, better than Northwestern, probably Nebraska. 50-50 when it comes to Michigan, Illinois, Michigan State, all these teams, right? I think they win their first three. I think they'll beat Purdue. They'll beat Georgia Southern. They'll beat up on Missouri State. They'll do that. At Illinois, that's a tough challenge. That's kind of one of those 50-50 games. I think that's their first tough test there. Now, I do like Jonathan Smith in Michigan State, but you get them at home. So you go on the road to a really good, 8-9 win possible Illinois team. Off week, you play Michigan at home. That could be, I mean, that probably this year has Big Ten Game of the Year potential. We'll see. At Notre Dame, I'm going to chalk that up as an L. At Nebraska, Nebraska kind of turning things a little bit with Matt Rule. I do like the direction he's going. Northwestern, not a big believer in them. Iowa, at Oregon, UCLA. Okay. Um, as much as I need a bet with Uncle Lou for Iowa to hit over and stuff, uh, I think you get Iowa. At Oregon's a loss. Let's count up these losses too. We'll make it quick because I'm thinking at most you could go 8-4. but I'm not the biggest like, I'm not gonna bet money on that. Like, USC is better than 6-6, but probably not better than 8-4. At least I'm guessing. I think if I had to come up with your losses, which I didn't make a banner for, I pretty much stopped doing that because at this point it's like you're really getting into bold stuff there. I think you lose Notre Dame for sure. We'll call this. Let's go at Illinois. Bold claim is a loss. I think Illinois could be good. You get a bye week, you bounce back. I think you take care of Michigan at home, but you got to go to South Bend. You play Notre Dame. That's a loss. At Nebraska, win. Northwestern, win. Uh, I'm gonna say you drop Iowa, bold take, and at Oregon, and those are your four losses. So, what are we looking at here? Illinois, Notre Dame, Iowa, and Oregon. Now, I say all that. I do think 10-2 if Lincoln Riley gets it done, gets it together, figures out a little bit of defense. Because I think with Lincoln Riley, he's always going to have good quarterback play, good receivers, good run game, open up the deep threat. You know, he's going to have offense. The problem with USC, and even when he was at Oklahoma, was he never had the defense to answer. He could never get it going, right? You play these shootouts in these close games, and then you lose them because you give up a 50-yard touchdown or something or a game-winning drive, right? Just throwing out examples here. It's not the worst of the worst, but I mean, there have been jokes that I've made, and I think people on YouTube that have made jokes like, "Oh, it's just allergy season when it comes to defense and Lincoln Riley, no matter where he goes." And honestly, I kind of feel that way. I kind of feel that way. But I got to hear from you guys in the comments section on this. Didn't really put together a whole bunch of notes for this one. Didn't really go through player by player and everything. I know they're recruiting great. I know that they got the talent always. And I just, man, I don't know. Like, I, on one hand, like, I want to be fair, I want to be real. I don't want to put USC down, but at the same time, it's like, you know, uh, you got to be a realist. And part of being real with USC right now is kind of putting them down. Not in a big negative way, but I don't know. You got some good guys out there, though. I'm looking at the roster right now. You have, let's see. Um, okay. Jamal Jarrett, redshirt sophomore defensive tackle. Cameron Fountain, defensive edge. Running back, Eli Sanders, DJ Harvey. I've heard that name quite a bit. Makai Lemon, probably going to be your top go to wide receiver. Um, Jacoby Lane also in there. So some guys really come back for USC. It just, there's just some of this that, like, I don't know, man. I mean, what's the quarterback play gonna look like? I mean, you got Sam Heward, you got Huson Longstreet, Jaden Mavia, Ma Maeva, Dylan Gavea, Gage Roy, Jack Stupin. You know, they I think they're in a position they're trying to figure out their quarterback play, but um, they did lose Miller Moss to Louisville. I think I had mentioned him a little bit earlier. I apologize. Caleb Williams is out of the picture. Miller Moss goes to Louisville um, this offseason. So yeah, I don't know, man. USC's probably screwed. I'm just gonna say it like that. They're probably screwed. Y'all have a good day. Let me know what you think in the comments. I love y'all.